It's one of
Okay, cool.
Hello, welcome to WITI Africa, where we have conversations with experienced tech professionals who are making significant contribution to their communities of influence and to Africa at large. Joining me today is Tinuade Oguntuyi. Tinuade Oguntuyi, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome. So today is Tinuade's birthday, and happy birthday, Tinuade. So
Thank you
it's
so
so
much.
good that you have agreed to spend some time with us today. That is your birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you
Tinuade
so much.
Oguntuyi is a transformational IT professional with more than 10 years of experience in telecoms, IP networks, technical sales, IT solutions, infrastructure design, consulting, and customer experience. She uses numerous telecoms technologies, including satellite, microwave, fiber optics, and SIM to create cutting-edge connectivity solutions that have helped her country greatly. She's a graduate of computer science. She has a mini MBA in telecoms and a mini MBA in digital innovation. She has also earned several relevant industry certifications. Tinuade is the head of networks and solutions at Information Connectivity Solutions Limited, a premium ISP and technology company in Nigeria. Her work includes, among other things, machine-to-machine communication, GSM backhauling via satellite in rural communities, and hard-to-get settlements, federal and statewide WAN connectivity. She partners with several international original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, to deliver bespoke terrestrial and non-terrestrial network solutions. Through mentorship, support groups, local and global industry speaking engagements, and other social impact activities, she imparts her knowledge and encourages women and girls who are interested in STEM fields. Tinuade was awarded Promoter of ICT Development in Nigeria by Titan of Tech, African Woman Tech Leadership by Women in Africa, Inspiring 50 Africa in Tech by EQL, shortlisted as Female Innovator of the Year in 2023 by African Tech Festival, Connectivity Champion by EBusinessLife, and several industry recognitions. Tinuade Oguntuyi is a member of the Nigerian chapter of the Internet Society Project Management Institute and has carried out over 30 network infrastructure projects in more than 12 sectors: government, education, financial institutions, etc. Tinuade Oguntuyi is a well-accomplished woman, and it's such a honor for you to be here on your birthday. Thank you, thank you. My name is Winifred Ereyi. I am the CEO of eWire Communications, where we have conversations that matter. I'm also the head of WITI Africa, and our mission in WITI Africa is really to showcase the amazing work tech professionals are doing at the grassroots level in Africa and change the narrative that people have about Africa and dispel the myths and connect them with the global tech world. So thank you everybody for being here. So Tinuade, we have a lot of similarities. My background is I have a bachelor's in electrical and electronics engineering from University of Lagos, and I have a master's in telecoms and information systems. So we do have a lot of similarities. We are also both passionate about advocating for the girl child. So we are part of a community in Nigeria that I'm building, the Girl First movement. So it's so good to find somebody that I say I pass the baton to you because you are so much younger than I am, but so So good to be here, to see you here, to wish you a happy birthday. So tell me about your career. Your career spans over a decade of telecoms and IT solutions, often working on cutting edge technologies. What inspired you to pursue this path?
Okay, thank you so much, WITI Africa, for having me. Thank you, Madam Winifred. You're such an amazing person, and I can't just but say it. Thank you for your leadership also. Okay, I did not start out to, let me say, my ambition initially was not to be in IT or tech or connectivity or telecoms. I'd always wanted to be a doctor. I mean, but then, because there was so much little information, everything about medical line to me was being a general surgeon or a physician. But as I was growing, I think about age 8, I found out I didn't like blood. So to me, that was already like a no-go area for me, but I still wanted it and I was pursuing it. So in Nigeria, we have an examination that we write when we're through from secondary school, which is the Joint Admission Matriculation Board exam. That is the exams you will take before going to the university or polytechnic. So I did the first time and I didn't get the marks right. I tried the second time, the same thing. But I have a very firm mother that believes that an idle mind is devil's workshop. So you need to be occupied. So she registered me in a computer school where I did my computer appreciation for 3 months and I was beginning to like it. Then I did advanced course in computer appreciation. And then I was already like, you know what? I'm going to change my subject combination the next time I'm writing the Joint Admission Matriculation Board exam. So I changed my subject. Then I had to do maths and do physics. And that's how I enrolled for computer science. But even at that, the admissions were delayed. So I did diploma in data processing. But you know, one thing that makes me happy even as that date, because looking back, I did my diploma in data processing year 1999. And as at then, my project was writing a database program that will attend to women that need to see the doctor for cancer cases. So my topic was where there is no doctor. And the simple program tries to diagnose what the symptoms are, and the patient is supposed to put in some details, then it suggests the next line of action. Basically, where there is no doctor, you will still get your diagnosis done. So that time, I believed then that I had to pursue this, and I went into computer science. Then as I was going, my mathematics in year 2, I did mathematical modeling. And, you know, there were a lot of things that were said about it that amazed me, drug administration and how we calculate the time the drug medications we use will stay in our body before it takes effect and all. So I was getting interested in, okay, maybe because I was in computer maths department, maybe I'll do something in that line, and I was trying to pursue it. But when I got to my 4th year in the university, I did a course on data communications. And that was the turning point. So I was exposed to routing. Don't let's be deceived. It's not as if I was even opportune to use a computer in my university days, though. But you know, I'd had prior experience, so that kind of helps me a lot. So the concept was so beautiful, and you know, trying to imagine how cables connected, how do people get information? It's not as if internet was very popular in Nigeria then, but you know, that was more of something that caught my attention. Like, you know what, I'm going to pursue this. And I had a lot of my classmates then that all they wanted is to just finish computer science and maybe work in a bank. And I said, no, I don't want to work in a bank. I want to work in a firm where they are doing this particular thing that I have so much gotten in love with, which is telecoms, data communications, and all that. And God wink, I got a place through my mom's friend in an ISP company. And that's how the journey started. That's how my journey started.
Thank you so much for that. I mean, it's really very important that people, students have practical experience, not just the theory, but also the practical experience. Because you have told us that, first of all, you didn't want to study computer science, but you were exposed to the theory at different levels. You were exposed to data, and that started to spark your curiosity. And then you got this practical experience, and then that kind of really cemented it for you that this is definitely a game changer, and this actually resonates with your soul. What you've really shared is really a strategy for getting kids to be interested in STEM. It's a strategy I use with my son, who went to Stanford, because he wasn't interested in, he wanted to become a neurosurgeon, and but he would play computer games for money tonight. And he didn't like to code. So I introduced him to logic, just how to think logically. And when he went to Stanford, he wanted the easiest course possible because he doesn't like to read. And the easiest course was computer science, because it seemed very similar to the logic that he had done all throughout high school. And today he works for Google as a computer scientist. He didn't understand, like your mother, that I kind of tricked him that you don't like to code, but maybe logic is something that you would like, because everybody likes to think. And computer science is really about thinking logically and sequentially. So what you have really shared is really a game plan for parents who really want to support their children to pursue STEM careers, that by introducing them to little concepts about computer science, you begin to spark their curiosity, and then you continue to nurture it. It's like sowing a seed in the ground, and then you continue to nurture it, and then it begins to blossom. So thank you so much for that. So tell me, you work as the head in your company, the head of innovation. What is your philosophy? My mentor John Maxwell says that leadership is all about influence, and everything rises and falls on influence. In your organization, you are in a position of influence. What is your guiding philosophy for managing teams, getting these teams to go out to do projects with different sectors? Can you share your guiding philosophy as a leader?
So one of my guiding philosophies, I can do it. But this might look like I can, but it's a combination of so many things. The moment I begin to second guess myself, then I'm just already opening myself up for failure. But like in my closet, I just tell myself, okay, we're going to do this thing. Tinuade, you can do it. Once you come out with this positivity first, you will see that it attracts a lot of things. I mean, it will attract the right resources. It will get you the right information. It will give you the kind of energy that you need to pursue it. I know one thing I've learned over a period of time that I've led teams is that when they see the leader that you are a can-do spirit, they are motivated because they know that even if they get weak, tired, they are seeing somebody that is not giving up on ourselves, nor giving up on them. Like today is my birthday. If I'd had opportunity to read some of the messages I read from my team members, I was looking at myself like, oh goodness, I never knew that the impact is this much. Because, I read a lot of things like, you show us what is achievable. You want us to know that we can do this thing if we put our hearts together on it and we work as a team. A lot of, like, I'm very energetic. So I know myself that when we need to get something done, all I have to do, get my book, I try to write everything. Okay, is this the human resource part we need? Is this, because I'm also a PMP certified personnel. So I write out everything. Then when I come, I try to just say, okay, you will do this. So sometimes they look at me like, okay, how did you even try to put all of this? I say, so you will have to take this. Then you make it fleshed up for us. So that way I can do it and I'm telling them they can do it. Then everybody has the same kind of energy and vibes. But I noticed on project that maybe even myself, I'm already feeling like, oh, I'm not liking what is happening, or maybe the timeline is not looking like something we can achieve. If I go out and like, okay, I don't think we can do this, it begins to affect the morale of everybody. And they're like, oh, are you sure it's something we should pursue? Now, are you sure? Everybody start asking questions. But most times, because I know I've told myself I can do it. And I'm a firm believer of the Bible, so I would definitely have my affirmations to give me, even because sometimes you might say you can do it, then you see circumstances that will come up that will want to try you again, to question yourself that, are you sure you can do it? So once I tell myself I can do it, I go out, speak whatever I believe we will be able to achieve, and get the other people on board. And when they even get tired, they see me and they still feel, oh, she's encouraging. And another thing in leadership for me that I've also noticed is being friends with people on my team helps me to get them to work. Caring truly about them is another thing. So empathy is something I don't joke with. If somebody tells me, oh, my wife is sick, I know I have a lot on your table, I will tell you, okay, how do you think I can help you? I'm an handsome person anyways, so it's not as if there's anything I'm giving to the team that I don't have an idea of. So, they see me also coming as their friend, and when it requires me to be very firm, they say, oh, some of my colleagues, they call me Madam, they say, when Maratino is smiling, we will smile with her. And when she's changed her face like this, you already know it's business time. So I try to balance that with my can-do spirit and trying to make everybody a friend, and also setting that boundary that, okay, when it's work, we all have to get to work, and everybody being acknowledged on the team for their strengths, because I know everybody have different strengths. So I try to call it, I'll let them know, and areas that they need to work on. So this is what I do most times. Like, we have number of groups, WhatsApp groups, and Microsoft Teams groups, and all of that. When I want to celebrate a team member, I write it for everybody to see. And when it's really serious time to correct, I go in their DMs and send it to them. If it's a lesson I want everybody on the team to get, I'll just say it and not targeting just the person that probably have defaulted or have missed it. So all of that makes them trust me that, okay, even if I go to her, it gives me, so I, like, August, my deputy resigned. And every time I tell somebody that, oh, my deputy resigned, so oh, you must have missed it. I say, it's not even her, it's a he. And he's way older than me. But he still believes that, okay. And this is a sector that we should also remember that there's this male domination kind of a thing, then African setting where somebody that is older sometimes just feel, oh, why will I be reporting to a woman and she's even younger? But because they feel that want that, oh, Tinu cares truly about us, and this is genuine. It's not as if she's trying to play us on anything. They open up, they tell me some of the challenges. If I notice anybody is dropping packets, we call it dropping packet because that's some of the terms we use in our own computing world. So dropping packets means maybe when you send a request to something, is dropping that is not reachable. So if I notice that, I try to call them. I'm noticing your performance is doing this way. Is there anything you want me to know about? If you need me to also involve the HR, if you need to take some break and all that. So over time, they believe they can trust me. But primarily is the can-do spirit for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that information. Joining me is my co-host, Tosin Arowojulu. I will summarize what Tinuade has said, and then I will definitely get Tosin Arowojulu to introduce herself. Tinuade, one of the very, very important nuggets she has dropped here, that for her to lead, her guiding philosophy is that she has a I can do spirit. And really, she does a lot of self-talk, a lot of affirmations. She believes in herself, bottom line. She believes in her competence. This is a very important thing because in the tech world, in the engineering world, you find very few women. And women are challenged by issues like double competence. They're challenged by issues like imposter syndrome, where they don't believe in themselves. They may have believed themselves within the four walls of an academic institution, but in the real game of life, when the pressures come, they don't believe in themselves. So continually affirming her ability and her competence is a practice that Tinuade does, reminding herself of all the awesomeness in herself, how phenomenal she is, all the things that she can do. What that does is that gives her a dose of happiness chemicals. I call those dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. But it boosts her energy. And that energy that she carries, that energy is transferred to her team. Another point that she brought up is that she practiced empathy. She leads with empathy. She's not concerned only about what her teammates can do. So our relationships are not transactional. It's not only about what you can do, what you bring to the table, but it's also about who you are, what is happening in your life, So in that way, she's creating an inclusive environment where everybody feels a sense of belonging. Another thing is that she celebrates people. That's what she's shared. She celebrates people, and then she celebrates their achievements. She acknowledges their contribution to the team. That is so important to create a sense of inclusion, a sense of belonging. And another thing that she has shared really is that she is a role model. People do business with who they like and trust. So she's just not just speaking the talk. She's actually walking it so that people can see and say, if Tinuade can do it, so can I. Being a role model is so important as a leader, And then she says she has a vision. Oh my goodness, if you're in a role of leadership, you really must have a vision, and you must continuously communicate that vision. You must, so that there is clarity. I say clarity is kind. People have to be clear. People have to understand what the stakes are. People have to understand what their responsibilities are. They have to understand what time the deliverable, and what time you need to deliver. And once they understand that, that puts them at ease. That makes them feel safe. And the psychological safety is necessary, where people should not be afraid about failing. They feel they can, because that's how you spark innovation, because they know they can fail forward. We want to go to time to market is important. If we fail, we can go back to the drawing board and regroup and try and understand why the process why the process has failed. One of the reasons I'm in my clients is because our process has failed. And so they've dragged me in to come and find out, why is this process not working? That's why I drove 2 hours to understand why the process is failing, so that we can fix it. But time to market is important. We can't have a perfect process. We want to get the product out to the market and let people give us feedback, and then we can go back to rework the process. So these are very excellent nuggets that Tinuade has left with us, that you should put in your back pocket, where you can use it everywhere you go, where leadership is important. Like I said, John Maxwell, my mentor, says everything rises and falls on leadership. And leadership is about influence. You cannot influence people if you do not practice what you speak. So Tinuade, thank you so much for sharing. So I'm going to give a space now to Tosin Arowojulu. Tosin is my best friend forever. We're heading off to Pakistan on Tuesday for a friend's wedding. So Tosin, I would like you to introduce yourself, and I would like you to ask the next question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Winifred. And it's wonderful to meet you, Tinuade. I've been hearing so much and reading so much about you, and my sincere apologies for being so late. I got stuck in major traffic, driving from my Toastmasters meeting to get here on time. But anyway, I'm grateful that I'm here. Yes. So I'm a leadership and communications coach, also with the John Maxwell team, just like Winifred said. We both met in engineering school, so we're both engineers. I don't know what introduction she gave earlier, but that is also my background as a civil engineer. And so I've been really intrigued by what I've heard so far, how you work with your team. I don't know, did you mention earlier how large your team is? Like how many, I'm curious to know what's the makeup of your team.
Okay, so the core team and the field and the satellite is about 26.
26. And what's the makeup, male, female?
Yeah, combination. We have more male than female. So even right now, we have just a female, and that's in the core department. Every other person is male.
Okay. And it's really important what you said. In addition to the belonging, like Winifred was mentioning, it's about valuing people. When you see value in people, it makes you treat them differently. It makes you treat them with such respect that they feel valued. And in order to do that, you yourself have to value yourself first. So the value comes from yourself. And just like Winifred was saying, you have the I can do spirit. And that's because you see that value in yourself. So it's really amazing to be able to connect with you and hear more about what you're doing, especially in the STEM. Now, I don't know if Winifred has mentioned anything, has asked you anything about STEM.
No, we just started actually.
No,
but I've answered to how I started my career.
Tosin, I was late myself because I was held by traffic. My client is some ways away from me, so I was late. So we just started, and just before you ask your question, Tosin, I know where I can see where you're going to. I just wanted to share that Tosin's son's birthday is today and Tinuade's birthday is today. So Tinuade, you have something in common with
you have a birthday mate. So happy birthday. That's right. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, and happy birthday to your son.
Thank you.
So Tosin, I'll pass the mic over to you. Okay.
Okay, great. So in terms of can you share maybe a major challenge that you faced that you were able to turn into a breakthrough? I think that's something that will be very interesting, especially with your team that you work with. You have 26 people that you work with. What challenges have you faced that you've been able to turn into a breakthrough?
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for that question. I've had to face a lot, honestly, and I think I still face some, but by the day it gets better. People continue to trust you more. If there is one of the challenges, I have them in different forms. Maybe if I'm permitted, I will take two, and I'll state why I want to take that in that format. The first one is when I was to be promoted. Then I had two sons, and behind the doors, the committee that were supposed to decide, I know that the management committee, there was a heated argument about how a woman would be the one to head the core team. Because this is no joke. If anything goes wrong with the core, the whole business is as good as it's going to bleed. So I was not in that room, but which I also want to say to everybody listening, nobody should joke with stakeholders anywhere you find yourself and sponsors that can speak for you because over time they've seen your results. And you never can tell when what they will say will have to be what will take you out of whatever level you are. So I think the argument was so much, and the CEO was the one that now said, but wait a minute. Now we are concerned she's a woman. We are concerned she has two children. Has she ever failed in any task we have given her? Is she result-oriented? Does she deliver? Can she really carry her team? The people that she works with right now, how do they talk about her? Have we even tried to talk about that? How do our clients even perceive this person? Because at a time in my career, I left where I'm working right now for another company, and they actually called me back. And that's because most times when they even go to some of the kind of like, why did you allow Tino to go? And yet my work is not customer facing directly, but I'm very passionate about the clients because one way or the other, they give me room to innovate anyways. They pay my bills and I can even become their friends. So it's a win-win on all sides for me. So I'm really, really focused on that and I pay a lot of attention. So this debate went back and forth And at the end of the day, I was promoted to head of networks and solutions. And the lesson I learned there is whatever it is that your hands find to do it well. You never can just not be able to say that this is the day to speak for you or not. And also, as an African girl growing up where culture means a lot of things to us, be respectful. The security man in your office might just be like a security man, but make them feel like they are humans too. I like to nickname people a lot. So you see me calling people different names. So you can even see me call a security person, oh, chief. And so because you can't tell what we fly, and they were like, ah, no, that woman, this is. So I had a voice that spoke for me. That's one challenge when it comes to rising through the ladder in the business. Another one that is very dear to my heart that happened that at the end of the day, I even made our vendors become like my spokesperson, was a particular mobile network operator in Nigeria was moving from a platform to another platform where we call the IP-MPLS, where they will now take some devices that probably do not have IP addresses, move them, more of like an analog thing to the digital. So we had a very slim timeline because their initial original equipment manufacturer probably had disappointed them. So they were really battling with time. I also had clients that I have to also face and tell that, oh, we have to do this. And at the end of the day, my other colleague then, this time I'm talking about, I wasn't the head of the department. It was just two of us co-supervising. He is like a very techie person, and maybe he doesn't pay so much attention to people relationship. But I was really detailed in that part because I feel that even for the clients I'm trying to save their faces or save their businesses, if everything happens and it goes like, wow, we are all down, I can still get a stand at least to talk to them and say, you know what, this is not how we planned it, this is what happened. And they will still be able to use my own personality to say, you know what, Tinu will naturally not see us go down. But this time around, I had to work around with the vendor. And imagine waking up the next morning and seeing somebody write a recommendation about me on LinkedIn. Happens to be the vendor. And like the way she dealt with the whole thing, the way he said it, I was like, is it me he's talking about again? Or because I captured it so much that I'm not sure if I'm writing my own recommendation, I will even go as far as writing that. But what I was able to achieve with the grace of God during that period was we eventually migrated every single client of ICSL, because when we're supposed to have travel time, because most of these sites are even up north, you know, how transportation can be, you know, maybe they are fighting today and all that. And I told them, okay, so what we're dealing with is something that we need to change the configuration on our own equipment. Instead of you sending our engineers to go there, why don't we do it like this? You will bring me up on this old platform that is down. I will change to the IP address and details you want on the new platform, and we'll test if it's going to work. Everybody was skeptical. Okay, what's the worst? We'll try it, we'll be down, then we'll send engineers. If it works, we'll be able to save ourselves time. And that's how we did one. And the first one we did, I guess somebody's not expecting to say it or to hear me say it worked. No, it didn't work because that particular site was actually down, and we all did not know that the branch had already sent a mail to the support team that they were going to close due to some issues with electricity and power and all of that. So everybody, you see, you have to act, but you know, I just had this thing in my mind that no, if this is what we have to do, you know, the vendor too was now agitated that, okay, so, and my colleague that was not even ready to hear this thing I'm saying, it looks like, let's just go, anyone we can bring up, we'll tell them we're sorry and all that. And at the end of the day, I said, you know what, why don't we try the second one? Maybe there are some peculiarities about, and thank God everybody listened to me. And that's how we did it. and it worked. And we're able to migrate over 150 clients in a very good time. I mean, it was record breaking that everybody, like, I earned their trust, respect, and even the business are like, wow, you saved us this. So I think that's part of the things that made me know that the worst thing that can happen when you try things is to fail. And when you fail, you will learn.
Mm.
If everything about us that we think of failure is, oh, I'm disappointed, oh, I feel embarrassed. Why should I feel embarrassed at learning a new thing? I've only learned how not to do it or how to do it better.
Exactly.
But since then, this is how we do most of them. In fact, we have an ongoing migration today. I worked remotely today, and we had one of the tower companies shut out of their physical space by the landlord over argument on rent and all of that. So we had to migrate some clients. We had the downtime good, but we had some links that couldn't come up because the direction of the route that the MNO wants to move us, they have some clashing details with other existing clients they have. So I gave them like 3 options. If we send engineer, we already have like an outage that is running into 24 hours. Will we get it even elongated? Because it's Bonny Island, before the engineer will get there, before the engineer leaves his own station and all of that. The second option, you have a client that you said has clashing details with us. Can you book like a 5-minute downtime with our client and quickly bring us up on that VLAN? Then we can make changes. Then you return us to the new details you want us, or you send your own remote engineer. Because of the SLAs and all the demarcation points that we set, their own engineers are actually restricted from touching our equipment. I said, but when things happen like this, you have to be creative. The common goal is solving a problem and making clients happy and reducing their downtime. At the end of the day, they said no. So I had to make some calls, and eventually they gave approval, and we're able to do it in record time. So sometimes some of these challenges have taught me that regardless of where you are, you know, at that point is a battle with 2 things. Oh, if I fail, they'll say, we have said it, she's a woman. They will not even remember all the things you have done. So do I want to get caught up in not being called a failure? Because I know I'm not a failure. I've only failed in something does not mean I'm a failure. Because that's it for me. I don't get something right, I put it down and see how I can do it better the next time. Or even create a problem myself to see if what I was thinking in my head is actually something that can work.
Thank you so much, Tinuade. Thank you so much. There's so many nuggets there. And it really just high-level summary, so I can move on to the next question because of time. We're going to have to spend 15 minutes extra because we started late. I really love the way you look at failure. And that is at the core of being innovative as a human being. And that's at the core of creating psychological safety, where people feel safe to fail because they use that as a tool to learn what not to do, and really challenge themselves to do things differently. So I really love the way that you have described how embracing failure has helped you to turn something that was a challenge, a major challenge, into a breakthrough. I know that society is so performance oriented, and right from the school, people don't feel safe to fail because there are consequences. Your grades go down, and so there's a lot of relearning that has to happen, on learning and relearning that has to happen when you get into the workforce, and embrace failure and look at that as a catalyst to be an innovative human being. So thank you so much for the examples that you have given us. At the core of your example is just being very confident in yourself, believing in yourself, being a role model, embracing failure and trying again, and willing to pivot, be adaptable, and try again. So let's move on to your outreach. So we've talked about you, we've talked about your mindset, we talked about your leadership style, we've talked about the teams you work. So let's move out of your corporate world and look at your work in the community. And you have been an advocate for STEM education for many years. You know, what drives that passion, and how can you wear those hats when you are such a busy female engineer? You have children, you have a family, you have all these responsibilities at work, but yet you make time to give back to your community. What drives your passion for promoting STEM?
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for that question. Other than my mom, that gave me that push to go for computer classes because my JAM scores were not meeting up and all that. Getting into, and I said by my year 4 in university, I knew I wanted to do this because of the data communications and all the courses I was exposed to. But it wasn't really a very smooth, always rosy story when I got into the space. Then I was an intern, and I know then people will laugh at me that I'm under the table engineer. At that point, I had paused on wearing trousers because of fellowship activities and school in the university. But when I got into the environment, I noticed, oh, one of the things I need to do if I want to really thrive is to be very flexible. So I may not be able to wear my skirt. And so I just told my late dad then that, you know what, all those my big trousers I used to wear, I need them again. Because then I used to dress like a tomboy anyway, is because of fellowship activities that really cut down that. So I had to resume like that, wear my canvas. But I noticed like maybe day 3 that I joined that most of the women in the office were either in sales or finance, HR. It was only like NYC, like corpers, we call them corpers in Nigeria. That's people serving after the higher education or university education or polytechnic education. Those were the only females. So there is nobody, if you want to go and sign anything, or I see people go and sign in the first week I joined, because I joined the company a Wednesday. I noticed everybody is a man, a man, a man, a man. I didn't feel at home like, oh, there's somebody I can run to and say, oh, can you tell me what this whole thing is all about? Can you? I didn't really have. We're all just in the set of ourselves, like either you're intern or you're a copper, like we call them. So it dawned on me that I have to do something different. But to be honest, I didn't know how. But like, I just got those things in my head then that, okay. So I told myself then, and I remember I was saying, I might be an under the table engineer today, pulling the cables to connect the PCs and all that. But someday I will sit over the table and make decisions. You know, I would jokingly say that then. And I see every time when they recruit, if it's for the field engineers, if it's for the core, it's for the IP, it's always almost like a no-no. You don't even see women coming for the interviews. So it's not a thing that maybe women come and they didn't even pick them. So, and this continued to grow. Then in 2016, when I left ICSL and I went to another company, a woman was actually resigning in the core team, and she was handing over a laptop when I met her. And we both said it to ourselves that, wow, this would have been a great opportunity to work with another female on the team. But she was leaving, I was coming in. So then it dawned on me that there is something really wrong and people need to see more that is doable. And because of the things I've had to face, I do a lot of calls, and you will see support team saying, oh, we're escalating to our team lead, technical team lead. And I take the phone, I say, hello, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Tinuade Oguntuyi. And they will scream at me. But you said you want to pass it to your technical lead. Why is it passing to support? How do you even know I'm support? You know, but I can't talk with clients. I don't even talk with lead generally, so I wouldn't even do that. I say, yeah, actually, I'm the technical person. So initially, I don't even used to say I'm technical enough. Just say I'm a technical person, and the person will just change their voice. They will just be arrogant and everything. But with time, I learned the patience, and I was able to deal with that. So I told myself, if this is the only thing I can give back, I will start doing it. In whatsoever skill, I'll do it. And like I said, one of the things that affirmations do for us is that it brings the right people in our corner. Because I really wanted to do it. One day I was riding with my CEO and I told him, I said, sir, I am looking for any opportunity to teach younger people, especially girls. He mentioned big sisters and he mentioned one other thing. But as God will have it, that same week that I told him that, somebody just shared something randomly about Junior Achievement Nigeria. And we're to teach in secondary schools, engage them in competitions that are related to STEM. And I'm like, yes, this is it. And that is how it has continued. I met Madam Winifred, and she has something on things, and it continued. And that's how I've been able to join more impact groups, to teach, to let them know it's doable. In fact, this is the first time I met Ms. Oluwa Shomolulesi. It's through a post that she wrote that women don't stay more than 10 years in technical sector because one way or the other they get discouraged. And I connected with her and said, yeah, I'm glad to say that I'm over 10 years. And I feel it's a win for me. So that has been the way this whole journey of trying to give back. And when it comes to balancing it, I invest a lot in innovation networks. It's not the age and time again where, because I'm an African lady, I have to do all the washing, I have to do all the, I also subcontract some things out, yet not losing the touch with the family. I have my family, I am not the going out type, maybe parties and all that. So I have moments to bond. In fact, if I have, after my husband, my cheerleaders will be my sons, because they will tell me, oh, if footballers get Ballon d'Or, you get the Condor. You're a woman in time. You know, they tell me all of that so that I still try to create that balance.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. So I really like that you've created a support system, that in order for you to achieve at work and also go into the community and fulfill your passion because of your lived experience of just being so challenged to navigate the tech space. So you want to give back to your community. In order for you to do that, you've had to outsource it. You've had to create a supporting system. You've had to outsource certain things that need to be done at home, and put priority to things that are important, like family bonding. But really, what drives you to give back to the community is just because of the challenges that you went through, and just because you saw that there was a gap where everybody was kind of a guy, and you were the lone ranger. And I believe that all of us who are females, we all share the same story, and that's what brings us to this space where we are having conversations like these, because role models are very important. We need people like your mother. For me, it was my father who felt that I could be an engineer. My mother was like, what on earth are you doing there? You should be an accountant. But like you said, role models matter. We need role models. We need parents as support, part of our support system, because they have a bigger perspective than we do, especially when we are young. So parents have a role to play in shaping a girl child's perspective about pursuing STEM. Role models matter, like us going into the community. I do that a lot, because very few Black females have seen a Black female engineer, and especially one that is not, they've not seen one as pretty as I am, and one that has so many engineering degrees. So it's very important to go out looking female, to say the fact that I'm an engineer doesn't mean I'm not female. You know, I am female. I have to wear my lipstick, because the reason I did engineering was because a female engineer came wearing her lipstick. So it's very important I carry my lipstick with me. But role models matter, you know, family matters, support system matters, you know, and also the curriculum. You talked about being introduced to different parts of computer science. before on each one spark your curiosity to know more. And that's how I treat my son into computer science. And my daughter, was pre-med until the second year when she hated biochemistry, and she moved into computer science, into software engineering, when she saw how much her brother was paid for internship. So there are different ways, and it was really the salary. I was like, you can't be a doctor if it's money you're looking at. But what I'm saying, really, this is really important, that you spark the curiosity of a girl child or any child a bit at a time, a step at a time. You just continue to sow seeds, you continue to water, because sometimes it takes time for it to click in their brain that they too can do it. So you have to be patient and work with your child, and with the females in your community of influence. So those are really the high level summary. I see media really sharing that her parents too played a role. And I tell you that so many, when you talk to females across the board, you will hear parents, you will hear teachers, you will hear somebody from industry came and was a role model and shared their story. You will hear the fact that they did something, they were part of a robotics team, and just being part of a robotics team, it sparked their curiosity and they decided to pursue STEM. And really, in pursuing STEM, I have seen this happen when I was in Charlotte working volunteering in the robotics team. I mean, you end up getting good jobs and you change the socioeconomic status of your family, and you open the door to other people within your community to pursue STEM. This is why we do this. WITI is about workforce, innovation, trust, and influence. And we've talked about leadership from a place of influence. But in terms of workforce development, this is why we have conversations like this, because somebody listening to this conversation can be a parent, and then they can look at their child and they can say, I can build the tech talent pipeline by encouraging my child to pursue STEM, or even a young female, or even a female in transition can say, STEM is something I would like to pursue. If Tinuade can do it, if Winifred and Tosin can do it, so can I, because in WITI, we are all about workforce development. So I will hand it over to Tosin. We have, David has been so good to give us extra minutes because we started late, but we just have a few more minutes before we bring this to a close. So Tosin, I will hand the mic over to you for the next question.
Great. This has been really inspiring. Thank you so much, Tinuade, for sharing your experiences with us. You've been talking about how you got into STEM. And so I would like to maybe go a bit deeper. And if you could share maybe a project that you've done in STEM education that you're particularly proud of supporting or leading.
Thank you so much, ma'am. One of the things that I have done over time, because I believe in any way you can contribute, you can do something, not necessarily becoming a founder or a creator before you can give your bit. So I pick based on different levels. And one of the one that I will speak today, which is also one of the things I really wanted to mention about strategies to promoting STEM education in Africa, is the Junior Achievement Nigeria I mentioned. So when I joined Junior Achievement Nigeria, it's SS1 to SS3, which is like the senior secondary school. And the project we did was Project of the Year. We call it's a combination of entrepreneurship in STEM. And we contextualize this, like bringing it to our own context of need. What are the challenges we're having? And what are the solutions that we can provide that will be localized to us? Kidnapping then was on the rampart. And also people getting electric shocks and electrocutions because of earthing and all. So we took students on this trip. How do you read the pulse when you're in danger? That way you can do some form of sensor band that determines if your pulse rate has changed because you're panicking or you're in danger. So students we use combination of IoT sensors, low power WAN devices to teach students how to create solutions for our own problem. And the school in Port Harcourt actually won this particular award in this STEM entrepreneurial competition. And that's another thing that made me realize that healthy competition like this make students or people to get interested in STEM. So every school, every student wanted to bring something that they can say is solving a problem. So that Company of the Year entrepreneurship project was one that was really close to my heart. In fact, I was always missing my break time because I have to drive down to the school. I was lucky that I chose a school that was really close to my office. So I would go and come back, and I'll make this trip in 1 hour, quickly drop, meet some other colleagues that in power in my office facility, get some materials. How do we get them? How do we source them? And we get the students and the teachers involved, which also speaks to enabling the teachers. We have to teach the trainers. We cannot expose children to say, oh, we want to expose you to STEM education without empowering the teachers that also supervise or teach them. Because most of them don't even have any know-how anyways. They only want to teach maths, teach English, teach science and social studies without any practical thing to show for it. So those going into the school, doing that competition of the year really opened up a lot of things. And I saw a lot of creative projects come up by students. So that Junior Achievement Nigeria Company of the Year in 2021 was really one that was really challenging and close to my heart.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for people who have stayed. I know we're going to share this recording so that other people can get inspired and educated and really take action, because it's really about taking action. It's not just hearing the information, but it's really believing that you can take that action from the information you've heard, and you can go out into the schools and inspire students to pursue STEM. Everyone has a seat at this table, because the problems that we face in the digital economy, they are very, very complex, and they need the STEM way of thinking, the STEM way of philosophy, the STEM philosophy, where you are integrating science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to solve these very complex real life problems and improve the lives of individuals and communities. My father was a lawyer, and he was the one who really bought my first computer at 16 and my first robot at that same age, 16. And generations after, my children are strong in STEM. But he did not realize that the investment was making my life. He was making it in generations. And you know, he watched a television program when he was in a hotel in London, saying that robots are going to take over the world. And he thought to himself, wow, I have children. I need children to be ready if robots are going to take over the world, if computers are going to take over the world. And he made an investment in my future. And that investment has paid off, where my children are in the world of STEM, computer science, and software engineering. And that is going to continue to play over, where they're going to pass the baton to their children, but also to people in their community of influence, because they are role models in schools, they are mentors. So Tinuade, what the investment you've made in junior achievement is changing the lives of students, and it's going to change the lives of communities. So I just wanted to thank you so much for that investment. Today is Thankful Thursday. Is the day we actually tell people thank you for their work and tell people to share with us what they're really thankful about. So I am really very thankful for the work you do at the grassroots level in Nigeria. I know you've come, you've showed up at a short notice and setting of the projects that I'm doing, that I'm sponsoring in Nigeria. You've showed up, you at the drop of a hat, you've shared your story, you've encouraged people. and the impact you are going to make in this life. So sometimes you will never know. And but I just, that's why my thank you maybe what you will get. So I want to bring this conversation to a close. What advice will you give to young people, especially young women, girls, or it doesn't matter your age, you can always enter the world of STEM? What advice will you give them, people who are looking to pursue a career in STEM?
Okay, so I think this would be in multiple ways, because over the years now, I've realized that not everybody have the same opportunity. And not until you visit some places, you will know that while I live in Lagos, I'm exposed to see a lot of people, students going to school. I have like insightful edu tech events coming up next week. I'll be speaking and encouraging students. But there are some people that I can't even communicate with them, yet they need to be part of this. Because I speak English and I speak Yoruba language, which is my own native dialect. Maybe some of them, they speak Hausa language, they speak Igbo language. Some of them, even with the Yoruba that they understand, am I able to completely teach this concept to them? After teaching it, what happens next? Do they have anything they are able to do? And I got really encouraged by a post I saw from one of my friends in South Africa, Tokomaya, that she got sponsorship to extend a computer laboratory to a very rural community where a mobile network operator and a bank actually sponsored to extend connectivity and get locals trained to also teach them. The work should not just be in the city, because truly, well, and that's why I was saying when I started with what we do in my company, that we do the business part where we make money to keep the business afloat. We also do business for impact. And that is why we're doing rural telephony in these communities. I mean, there was a project we did, I think that was 2022, and the chief, which happens to be like the leader of the community, was almost crying. And guess why he was crying? This is the first time in his own lifetime, in his own village, that he can make a phone call without needing to travel kilometers or miles. I mean, this is like the impact. So I'm even talking of grown-ups that don't even have this access. So there's a lot the government can do. There's a lot coming together can do so that we can even attend to this part. I speak Yoruba well, but am I even able to use it to teach this concept? I'm not sure. Now coming to the city, at least that I live, I try as much as possible to use my person as a representation. So I go out and make sure I talk to people. Don't let anybody tell you. In fact, one of the funniest things I know I've been saying lately is that, do you know the truth? The girl brain and the boy brain aren't different. You can all think and use your brain well. If you tell yourself you cannot, nobody will be able to tell you you can. So you also have to tell yourself, I can. Don't have a consumer mindset. What you want to do with technology, science, or engineering is to just use. Just get curious. How does this thing work? For me, it was the Ethernet cables. How do they connect the cables? How are they able to fly up to the internet we're accessing? I'm told is very long distance. How are they connecting the cable? You know, it comes up in my head. And I make sure you don't walk this walk alone. Thank God for internet. I'm a co-chair in Internet Society in Nigeria for infrastructure, access, and connectivity. And I was really intentional to join that working group because I know not until you get people to be empowered, you show them what is achievable. So when I go out and I talk, and that's why, of course, in recent times, maybe for burnout purpose, I'm planning on how to reduce some. But every time I'm going out, I see it as a ministry that I'm going out to show that I can do this, you can do it. What are the things you need? Just look for the things that are lacking. There is something called the gaps analysis, where am I? Where am I going? And how will I get there? Once you can identify how you want to get there, you will know the right resources you're looking for. Do I need a mentor? Do I need a coach? Do I need to join a community? Do I need to join any of the STEM programs online or something? Because it's not everybody that has money for data. Not everybody has a device. How would they learn? So it's a corporate thing everybody needs to do. But my own part, I try to talk, I try to show, and I also, in fact, in the office, they call me women advocate, because I'll tell the HR. I said the other time that we have just one female as we speak now. She's also a copper, because the lady engineer actually got a better offer and she left. But every time I try to let them incorporate it, even in the HR process. We need to talk to the HR people. Sometimes they are biased without knowing. So create an enabling environment. I talk to them that, okay, you can do this thing. How do you want to live your life such that you will live tomorrow with regrets? Maybe I should have tried. If you don't even try, you won't even know if you would do it or not. So, and look at problems like, I want to be part of the solution. I tell my children every time, you're a solution provider. Look at problems like, oh, I can fix something. I saw a video of some girls in Makoko, is a slum in Lagos, and they were taught something in chemistry on separation techniques. And they told a science teacher, we don't even have good water in our area. How do you think we can apply this? And that's how the teacher got interested, got other teachers, got the school management. And because of what these young girls, they were about 4, they got sponsors to also come in. So sometimes it might take you just doing something. So when you're talking to people, you'll be able to learn, I tried this, so I don't know how much I can do this. And somebody will be able to say, okay, you know what? And it also speaks to leaders that are female too, that as much as we can, we should create that access. I've seen most times female leaders don't even give that access to the upcoming one. And it's almost like leaving them like nobody to care for them. They only just don't want to see us. They also want to see that we care about what they do. And that is much that I do every time I have an opportunity to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tinuade. We're going to bring this conversation to a close. So you have shared so many nuggets, and I really appreciate all that you have shared. I really appreciate all that you have shared. You see, I have to leave.
Yes.
But I appreciate what you've shared. I think one of the things at the core of what you've spoken today is that the leadership, that lessons that you have learned and that you use in the corporate world, being a visionary, being very inclusive, leading with empathy, you've actually taken those same leadership lessons and you've actually applied them into the community. And you know, being a visionary is also about saying to yourself, what vision do I have for this community that I live in? You've talked about the fact that the people in the remote, there is digital divide. The world that we should live in, that we live in, should have internet for all. But the reality of it, it doesn't. I say talent is ubiquitous, but access is not. This applies not only in Nigeria, it applies also here in the global north, where COVID really showed that there was a big divide. But despite the fact that that divide exists, you've actually used the innovation, the creativity that you use in the workplace. You've used that in the community to be able to reach out to people. I think the message that you are leaving with us here is that no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are located, you have a seat at the table. You have a seat at the table to encourage the girls in your community and also the boys to be curious, to be solution focused, to ask questions. How can I make the world I live in better? How can I filter? How can I use the chemistry principles I've learned in school? How can I use that and purify the water so we have water to drink? All of that is called solution focused way of learning, really using project-based methodologies. You know, I call this the Esther principle, that each one of us must be empowered to speak truth to problems.
Winifred, are you still there? I think she's frozen.
Yes, a network.
Okay. But we're putting it to a close, and like she was saying, you've really, really inspired us. And we're so happy that you've taken time to share your journey as a woman in tech and in STEM. So thank you so much for coming to share your nuggets with us. And I don't want to keep us up any longer. I think Winifred also has to go. And David, thank you.
Thank you
so much for allowing us to go a little bit further. And Cyril, thanks for joining us.
My apologies. Let me just
thank you.
My apologies. So I was just saying that each one of us must be empowered to speak truth in such a way that it is heard, it is embraced, and it is respected. That is really what you have been doing in your outreach work. And so that's what I would like to leave with the audience, with Cyril, and with the people that are going to listen to this recording, that each one of us must take a place, must take a seat at the table to make sure that the average person has access to STEM education in a language that they can understand. I know you talked about your language being a barrier. So I would like to leave that in our back pockets for us to ask ourselves, what are we doing in our world to make our communities better? What are we doing in our world to influence? Because leadership is all about influence, to influence and build the tech talent pipeline. So thank you so much for attending this session. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Tinuade, for all you have shared. You can connect with Tinuade on LinkedIn and continue the conversation with her. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Winifred Eri, and with Tosin Arowojulu on LinkedIn. Tosi is actually in Bahrain. Tinuade is in Nigeria. So we've really had a very global community having this conversation, because this conversation really matters. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Let's take a screen share before you go. Okay, so smile. I'm going to do a print screen. Smile at the camera. 1, 2. Okay, I think I got it. Yes. I will share that with you, Winifred.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, WITI Africa, for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, David.
Yeah,
bye, Cyril. Bye, Winnie.